So I wanted to make a quick video on two major rules that I've had for myself for the longest period of time. They've always, in one way, shape, or form, they've always been reworded. I've always switched around. The meaning has always been the same, but the words have changed, right? But there's two that I find that every high performance individual has, and they either know or they don't, or they realize it to some degree, that everybody should develop if you want to be successful with your health and fitness. And that is, number one is discipline builds freedom. Actually, Jocko Willink is the one who consistently says that, and I did grab that from him. But the idea is that discipline will cause you to become a better person, but I just like how he simplifies it. So discipline builds freedom. And then the other is your feelings don't matter, only the results do. And I'm just going to break those two down very quickly for you. What discipline builds freedom is that you have to be disciplined in order to get the things that you desire for yourself. If you do not have disciplinary actions and be accountable for your life and what you're doing, you will never take the steps necessary and never take the action necessary to attain those desired results you want. The problem is with some people is that they start taking these actions and they start taking these steps, and when they do not get what they think they should have gotten within the time frame they set for themselves, they get upset and they discontinue with whatever they're doing. You have to understand that you're not always going to get what you think you should get. I would actually challenge that and say most of the time you're not actually going to get what you think you should get within a time frame when it comes to your health and fitness. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't set goals. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be results oriented. But if you do not get to that point with the time frame that you think you should get it in, there's no reason to stop, because you have to understand, especially if you're new when it comes to health and fitness, you're not going to have, or you're not always going to have the capacity to know when you should get those results, right? If you end up hitting them or you get close to them, that's amazing. That's even better. But don't stop just because you didn't get there when you think you should have gotten there. Like I've already stated in a lot of other videos in this course, there are a number of different factors when it comes to you gaining your results. And then also what you have to do to pertain to keep them after. Such as things as like obviously going to the gym, doing your cardio, making sure you're getting your macros and your caloric intake right, understanding that you're getting good mind to muscle connection when you're working out, making sure you're doing the exercise properly, consistently doing that all the time. When you have to re-evaluate your macros and your calories after 2 weeks to a month or so, depending on how you're doing and what you set for yourself, how you deal with setbacks, how you deal with the days that you don't feel like going into the gym. Like all these things matter, right? And if you're somebody who's starting with a lot of weight and you've never exercised in your life on top of that, and you happen to be in this community, it's going to be a little bit harder for you. Even getting over the habits of the type of foods that you've been eating all your life, the type of crappier foods that you've been ingesting, right? And the mindset of those habits that you've had from growing up with your family, right? Through no fault of your own, because you're a kid. You're just going to do what your parents have showed you and taught you. Now you know better and you're here to make the changes, which is why you're part of this community. But nonetheless, these all are going to make a difference when it comes to building the individual you need to be in order to get the results that you want. So you cannot stop when you don't get those results that you think you should have gotten. You have to keep going. You have to have determination. You have to keep striding through that with action. And as the saying goes, eventually you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and the more you keep pushing to that, the more light that will be coming your way until you get to the other side of it all, right? So discipline equals freedom in that sense, where when you are a disciplined individual day in and day out, and you always stick to that regimen, and then you consistently make the right tweaks along the way in a disciplined manner, you will get your freedom. And that freedom entails you getting the results that you want. You having the feeling of now knowing that you can actually do what you set out to do. Having that positive reinforcement and that state of mind saying, wow, I can actually do this shit. I can actually make it happen. You know what? What else can I do now? Let's take that same mentality and put it into something else and achieve it. And when you do that, there's going to be other challenges that you come across that you haven't faced before, because there are always going to be things you will never 100% expect when learning something that takes new skills and getting into a new market or a new area. It's just going to happen. But it's the individual you built and that positive reinforcement that you take with you from the last objective that you have attained, that is going to make sure that you keep getting those results. So discipline equals freedom is a huge one for me. The next one, whenever I've put it up on social media a few times, and I've had people respond and say, what do you mean feelings do matter? How can you say that how you feel as an individual doesn't matter? That's not exactly what I mean when I say this. With the saying, your feelings don't matter, only the results do. What I mean by that is, how you feel about working out that day doesn't matter. How you feel about eating those calories that day, it doesn't matter. How you feel about not getting up out of bed because you're tired doesn't matter. It's the effort, furthermore, the act that will get you to those results that matter, not how you feel. Because if you always listen to how you feel, you're never going to do the things that you need to do that allows for action to take place in order for you to get the results. I can't tell you how many times that I've had something in my mind that I wasn't necessarily 100% on doing, but I did it anyways, went through that challenge, got the result that I wanted, and was in a happier state on the other side of that challenge because of it, right? It's almost like you have to look at that in the sense of this is telling you what you need to do, not what you don't feel like doing. What you don't feel like doing is what you actually have to do in order to overcome that challenge, or in order to get your ass up and go to the gym, or to start eating the calories that you need to eat, or whatever the case is in your life. You can use this analogy for anything really, but that's what you need to do in order to get to the challenge that you need to surpass to get the results that you want. Which goes back to the saying, your feelings don't matter, only the results do. Because when you go through that and you gain those results, you become a stronger individual again. Very similar to how discipline equals freedom, right? You become more strong-minded, you gain trust in yourself that you know that you can do this now. When you're somebody who listens to how you feel and you repeatedly do not follow through with what you're supposed to do, think about what that does to you psychologically. Think about the trust that you lose within yourself because you do not follow through on what you say you're going to do. It doesn't matter how you feel, it's about the end result and the feeling you get from the accomplishment. That's what matters the most. That's what you need to do. So try and keep that in mind about getting over those repetitive feelings that you have that aren't allowing you to take a step forward to get closer to the results that you want. And I'll be honest with you, it's got to be day in and day out. It's not a one-time, two-time, three-time, four-time thing. It's an everyday type of thing. But the great thing about it is you eventually stop getting those feelings. They go away. I can't tell you exactly how long that'll take. It could take 2 weeks, it could take a month. I mean, if you want to use the whole analogy of every 60 days, or I think now it's 90 days, what I've read, but I can't, either or. 60 days or 90-day habit routine breaks a bad habit and allows you to start building better habits for yourself. You can use that as well. Nonetheless, it comes down to your mindset and a state of mind. That those feelings are generally not going to do anything for you and they're stopping you from taking action to get to the challenges you need to get to so that you can get the results you want. So, discipline equals freedom, and your feelings don't matter, only the results do. When you combine both of those together, which I know some of you do, some of you need to get better at doing it. Everybody can always implement it even further, including me. Always include yourself to be held accountable for your own actions. And I promise you, when you start utilizing those two things as much as possible, your results will start coming in sooner and sooner. You'll become and be built into a better, more strong-minded individual, and you're gonna feel like there's nothing that you won't ever be able to overcome because you know that you've done it before. All right, guys, encourage each other as much as usual. If there are any sort of challenges that you've gone through, or there's anything that you've had to overcome with your feelings, or there's anything in regards to your discipline that you do now that you think that could help the group, put it in the chat and let everybody know. If there are some of you that have questions, don't be afraid to ask. There's always going to be somebody here to help answer it for you. We're all one. We're all working together to make and build each other into a better individual as much as we can. And I will see you guys in the next video.